Okay. So today's discussion is regarding the key management. In my class and in HOD sir class, sir has already told you what is the and what are all the various types of keys that are available and what are their functionalities. These all things in our previous classes we have discussed, right? Now, what we are going to discuss is key management. So, what is exactly key management? Here, how to distribute keys to the different persons. As we have discussed in the public key cryptography, that is, there are two types of major keys. One is a private key, and another one is public key. What we were saying, always the private key will be available with the self. Means ఎవరి key వాళ్ళ దగ్గరే ఉంటుంది. But public key of a particular person is known to all. Suppose, remember, always a person will have two keys. One is private key and another one is public key. Right? Now, my private key will be with me, and also public key, both will be there for every person. So my private key is known only to me and public key is known to everyone, I am saying. So in the same way, how I am saying my public key is with others. See, until and unless you share your public key, it will be not known to others. But here in our previous discussion, what I said, private key is known to only self, public key is visible and known to everyone. So how it is visible, how it is known to everyone, that is how you are going to distribute. మీ పబ్లిక్ కి మీరు చెప్తే గానీ అందరికీ తెలియదు. సో హౌ యు ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ దీస్ పబ్లిక్ కీస్ ఈజ్ అవర్ డిస్కషన్ టుడే. సో కమింగ్ టు దిస్ see here, key management. So in this key management, the major target is, anyway you will not tell your private key to anyone, but if you want to communicate with others, definitely you have to share your public key with others who are involved in the communication. But sometimes you don't know who is ready to send the messages to you, who is ready to receive your messages, that we don't know, right? That's why this public key should be distributed to all the people who are involved in the communication. How you are going to broadcast your public key, different ways are there, different methods are there. Okay, so now we are going to distribute, and how we are going to see, we'll be seeing. First one is distribution of your public key. So the public key distribution, the first method is public announcement of public keys. Means there is no restriction. You will be announcing your public key to other all the participate, like you may broadcast to everyone who is available in your communication. I mean, communication and the network where you are going to send and receive, that group of people you are going to broadcast. Broadcast means you are sending to all the people at a time. Okay, for large community or different networks or whatever it may be, right? So these are all the different types of methods are there. The first method is public announcement of public keys. You will be just, means suppose A is one person, he will be having multiple pairs. There is no rule that one person should have only one public key and one private key. He may have n number of pairs. Means he may have 10 pairs. Each pair consists of one private key and one public key. So he will store all his private key which is not visible. So all, I mean, private keys he will store, and all his public keys he is going to publish. He is going to broadcast and announce to all. Okay, so you can take any of his public key and perform encryption and decryption operation to send or receive messages to A. In the same way, user B also holds all his private keys personally. He will not reveal it to anyone, and he will announce all his public keys to others. So those who want to communicate with B, they will take their public key and they will encrypt or decrypt and perform communication between A and that other person. Okay, That's why this is announcement. There is no control here. Who is going to see the message? Who is not going to see the message? Message means this public key. Evarki na public key telisindi. These all things are not available. Just you are telling open to all. This is my public key. Anybody who want to communicate with me, they can communicate. But what is the problem here is this method looking easy for you to do it, because announcing is simple. Okay, suppose you are keeping your some Facebook post which is known to everyone, but you will not exactly have an idea who have saw the post or who have not seen the post. These all things you have announced. This is the thing. So anybody, in the same way here also you have announced your public keys. But what is the problem? Anyone can take that public key, and instead of one person, he may use like another person, and he may send a message who is not involved in the communication also. Because only you are the person to decrypt when that fellow encrypts and send. But public announcement does not give guarantee that the person who is sending you message is an authorized person or not. A anonymous person also can see or can get public key from some other source, and he can send you a message. So that's why you are going for another method called as second one, that is called as public available directory. A little bit of security that can be achieved by maintaining available directory of public keys, right? Any doubt, ma? So public available directory means we'll have one third party. Okay, some trusted third party organization. Suppose if you want to go for some admissions or visa process, whatever you do, you don't go directly to the college, right? You will have a third party consultancy for jobs also, whatever it means also. In the same way, you will be having some trusted third party organization. So these trusted third party organizations will maintain the directory of the public keys. Okay, so what you are going to do is you are going to have any person who want to perform communication with a particular person or any person in that network or in that group. What that fellow will do is that fellow will go to this third party, then he will register his details that this is my name and this is my public key. Okay, compulsorily the registration should be done, right? The registration should be done. So it will be like some security methods also will be there, authentication, communication will be there, whatever the method there. So a person will be taking the registration. So see here, suppose A want to communicate to any other. First of all, A has to register his public key with the third party. Then B also has to register his public key with the third party, right? Now, suppose, sir, I am not using this public key because you should not use the same key many number of times for the communication. For different people or same communication or long time, you should not use the same communication. Sometimes you use your net banking password also. After 2 months or 3 months, you will be forced to change the password, because same password should not be kept. It may be prone to attack. You may be logging in different systems or web browsers or whatever it may be stored. So this change of password helps you for more security. In the same way, whenever a user has registered one public key, so he should not use the same public key pair continuously for long time. So for the purpose of security. So whenever a person want to change the public key, again he has to request with the new public key and new registration to the third party. Okay, once his communications are completed, once you want to start other communication, he may use the same previous public key, but instead of that, it is better to use new public key and register that new public key with this public key authority, trusted third party, right? So These accessing will be done electronically only, ma. I mean, online only, not the physical. Ante oka person velli akkadiki velli register chesukotam. No, these are not. They can done with online procedure only. So A has to provide his authentication and he has to give his public key, and trusted third party will accept based upon this authentication verification process. Manaki KYC ela untundo vallaku kuda some verification process will be there. Now the question is, sir, why a user should he register his public key with a third party? Okay, now suppose B wants to communicate to A. First of all, the condition is B should be a registered person in this public directory, and A also should be a registered person in this directory. Then there will be a little bit security, there will be a little bit understanding that okay, A is a valid person and B is a valid person. Is it right? That is the purpose, because previously you have just announced your keys. Once you announce your keys, any anonymous can send you message, right? But here what, before sending, you are going to verify yourself and you are going to verify the other person also with whom you want to communicate. So vice versa, both persons can be verified. So this will be little bit advantageous than the previous publicly announced keys. This is a public key directory. So publicly available directly, right? This directly will be available publicly. Next, third one is public key authority. Okay, so is it clear now? Public key directory. Any doubt? No doubt. Okay. At least is it audible? Nobody is replying.
Yes, sir, no doubt.
Right. So now third one is public key authority. Now what is the problem is, previously whenever a person he registers himself and he directly takes from the public key authority directly. Now instead of direct method, now authority is also maintaining a security, that is you are having a private key and public key for the authority. Now if you can see here, you can see here, means taking from public key authority is also not simple. You have to identify, you have to be verified by authority, authority has to be verified by you. Both parallel things has to be done. Is it clear? Next, if you can see here, let's take the first step. This is the first step, and this is from A to public key authority. So it is requesting, okay, it is requesting some persons. What persons? Some with whom it want to communicate, it has to communicate, it is requesting. So first it will request, ikkada request concatenated. This two lines symbol is called as concatenated. Concatenated means combined another. So first step, initiator nunchi first step ఏంటంటే it is requesting for something, and time అనేది, time అంటే ఏంటంటే at what time this request has been done. So then what this public authority sends, it will send with sometimes some information. So first, what it is KUB. So what do you mean by KUB, ma? It is equal to public key. B unte kinda public key. Okay, kinda R unte sorry, U unte public key, R unte private key. So it is sending the public key of B and along with your request and what time you have sent. This all data, it is being encrypted with private key of the authority. It's private key తో authority తో పంపిస్తుంది. This all data comes to the initiator. అంటే ఏ దగ్గరికి ఈ all data వస్తుంది. A will be decrypting with what? Authorities private key, public key. ఎందుకంటే it has data encrypted with authorities private key. So authorities public key is known to everyone కదా. So authority public key తో this fellow decrypts. A will be decrypt. So authority, this A got the public key of B. Is it clear? Now, so since A got public key of B, now A sends information to B by using B's public key, because he already got B's public key kada from third party. So ఏం పంపిస్తున్నాడు? IDA. So he is sending his own identity. ఇది నా ఐడి, ఇది నా ఐడెంటిటీ. సార్ వాట్ ఈస్ ఐడి? దట్ ఈస్ ఏ హ్యావ్ ఆల్రెడీ రిజిస్టర్డ్ విత్ థర్డ్ పార్టీ కదా. సో వాళ్ళు ఇచ్చిన ఐడి రిఫరెన్స్ ఏదన్నా కానివ్వండి, దట్ ఐడి హీ విల్ బి సెండింగ్. సో హీ విల్ బి సెండింగ్ ఐడి అండ్ హీ విల్ బి సెండింగ్ N1. N1 stands for nonce. NONCE. What is nonce is some random number. Okay, he will generate some random number. He will send his identity along with nonce, which is encrypted with B's public key. Why he is encrypting with B's public key only? Because he is sending to B. If it is encrypted with B's public key, it can be decrypted with B's private key only. Ante B tappa evaru decrypt cheyaleru. So it will be received to B. Once it is received to B, B will be decrypting with its private key and he will observe his ID of A and some random number. Okay. So ID, A యొక్క ID verify చేశాడు. Now B has to do communication కదా. అంటే B దగ్గరికి A అనేటోడు ఇది నా ID అని చెప్పేసి B దగ్గరికి పంపించాడు. Now what B has to do? B has to send some information to A back na, but B don't have A's public key to send or to encrypt information. పంపించాలని అంటే వాడు పబ్లిక్ కీ ఉంటేనే I can send the information. I cannot send. So first what I have to do? B already have the ID of A. What this fellow will do? He will request something to this, and what it will do? Again he will get information from third party. ఏమొస్తుంది? Public key of A వస్తుంది. So now B got public key of A in the same like A got public key of B. Now B also got public key of A. So once he got, what he will do with this public key, with A's public key, he will do encryption. ఏం పంపిస్తున్నాడు? ఇందాక వాడు పంపించిన random number which is combined with new random number generated by B. Okay, so it receives to A. He will decrypt this. అప్పుడు ఏమైతుంది? ఇందాక వాడు పంపించిన ర్యాండమ్ నంబర్ ఉంటుంది, ఈ కొత్త ర్యాండమ్ నంబర్ ఉంటుంది. దెన్ A gets confirmation that this message has been received from B only. Now what he will do? Again A, ఇప్పుడు B కూడా కన్ఫర్మేషన్ రావాలి కాబట్టి again he will encrypt this newly received random number from B. He will again encrypt with B's public key and he will send it to B. Now A got confirmation he is B only, B got confirmation he is A only. These both confirmation came from public key authority. I mean public keys are received from public key authority to A and B. I think you in computer networks you have seen three-way handshaking method, right? So here also in the same way, but one more third party is involved. Okay, so this is how you are going to distribute the keys for different users by taking a third party, that is public key authority. So this is third method. Clear? Any doubt?
Clear, sir.
So same steps, this has been available here. You can check your always your official mail ID where I have sent your I mean, all PDFs to your mail long back in the first mid only, I think so. So one more method is public key certificates. So here, what is the drawback of this previous methods is every time whenever you want to start a new communication with a new person, every time you have to contact a public key authority, that is third party. ప్రతిసారి కాంటాక్ట్ చేయాలి కదా whenever you want to start a new communication. No, I don't want to contact like that. Is it clear? So suppose a person wants to communicate with B, so A will not have B public key. What he is doing? A goes to the third party, he will verify himself and he will take the public key of B and he will start communication. In the same way, B also do the same. But that's why what we are going to is third method. Instead of going to the third party involvement will be there. But for every communication, you need not go to the third party. That is their target. That's why what they are going to do is they are creating some certificates, digital certificates. That is, a person A, once he registers to the third party, okay, he will be provided with some certificate. Right? In the same way, every person who wants to communicate, they registers with the third party and they obtain some certificates. So whenever a person wants to communicate with anyone, they mutually verify these certificates. Right? Because certificates and certificate authority untundi. They verify it. And one more thing is, if you want to do this, all previous method laga vellali anante always 24 hours, 365 days, that public key authority should be online. ఎందుకంటే ఏ యూజర్ ఎప్పుడు రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తాడో, ఎప్పుడు అడుగుతాడో, ఎప్పుడు ఏ పబ్లిక్ కీ పంపించాలో we don't know. So instead of that, we maintain another one called as certificate authority, so that it will be easy, just verification of certificate authority. Okay, so you can see here, any participant can read the certificate to determine the name and public key of the certificate owner. Any participant verify the certificate originated from the certificate authority and it is not counterfeit, ante dammedi kaadu. Only the certificate authority can create and update certificates. Any participant can verify currency of the certificate. Right? So, see here. First, A sends the public key of A to certificate authority. Right? Certificate authority. He sends the public key to the certificate authority. So what it will do, based upon that, time 1, ఈ ఐడి యొక్క ఏకి ఈ పబ్లిక్ కీ అనే దానికి it will be encrypting and it will be sending the certificate authority certificate to the A. Right? In the same way, B also sends his public key to certificate authority and it will also send back its certificate to B. Now, if A wants to communicate with B, what he is doing is, ఒకసారి సర్టిఫికేట్ అనేది వచ్చింది అని అంటే, then from next time onwards, what they will do, you no need to communicate. Suppose A want to communicate with B, again registration, again communicating with certificate authority, అన్నీ లేదు. ఒక్కసారి certificate authority certificate వచ్చింది అని అంటే, once you get the certificate, just A sends the certificate to B, B sends his certificate to A. By observing this, A verifies certificate of B and B verifies certificate of A. Then what will happen? Okay, these both are correct, these are all these public keys. అంటే ఆ సర్టిఫికెట్లో ఏమేమి ఉంటుంది చూడండి అమ్మ, టైం ఉంటుంది, ఐడి ఉంటుంది, వాళ్ళ యొక్క పబ్లిక్ కీ ఉంటుంది. So what happens? So you know the public key and it is verified by third party authority. Here also same. Now they will start communication. So once registration and certificate is applied, for every new communication, you no need to contact the third party. You directly send your certificate to the person who want to communicate, and that person will send, you both verify, finish, instead of going there. Is it clear? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next, public key distribution of secret keys. అమ్మా ఈ సర్టిఫికెట్స్లో ఏమేమి ఉంటాయి, దెర్ ఈజ్ కెర్బరోస్, దెన్ మెథడ్ అండ్ ఎక్స్పాండ్ 509 సర్టిఫికేషన్ అని చెప్పేసి ఉన్నాయి. అవి వేరే టాపిక్స్. ఆ సర్టిఫికెట్ గురించి కూడా ఒకటి చూస్తాం మనం. రిగార్డింగ్ దట్ సర్టిఫికెట్ ఆల్సో దెర్ ఈస్ అప్కమింగ్ టాపిక్స్, దే ఆర్ దేర్. హౌ ద సర్టిఫికెట్ విల్ బి, హౌ ఇంటర్నల్ ప్రాసెస్ విల్ బి దేర్, దట్ సర్టిఫికెట్ విల్ బి దేర్. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ఏ సీక్రెట్ కీ? Any idea?
The key which is only available with the person, sir, or an individual.
Whether it can be shared or not.
No, sir, it shouldn't be shared.
With whom it should be shared then?
It shouldn't be shared with anyone, sir. It is only with the particular person.
Okay. Any other answers? Any other answers, ma? Yes. Generally, certificates. Public key distribution of secret keys. See, to provide more security, everybody knows that these people will use public key and private key for encryption and decryption. Okay? So instead of that, even though sometimes by mistake, suppose if anybody's private key or public key has been compromised. So if you are using whatever the public key that is publicly available, if you are using the same key for encryption or for decryption purpose directly, sometimes if it is compromised, then your communication is prone to attack and it may be visible to everyone what you are communicating. It is vulnerable to attack. Vulnerable ante edo loophole undatam valla, vulnerable means loophole. So based upon the vulnerabilities, it may be attacked. So there are some more what do you say, security methods that can be added. That is, suppose A wants to send a message to B. జనరల్గా ఏం చేస్తాడు, ఏ అనేటోడు బి యొక్క పబ్లిక్ కీతోని ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేసి పంపిస్తాడు. సో బి డిక్రిప్ట్స్ ఇట్. సో వాట్ ద థర్డ్ పార్టీ థింక్స్? ద థర్డ్ పార్టీ థింక్స్ దట్, సో ఇఫ్ ఐ గెట్ బీస్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ, దెన్ ఐ కెన్ డిక్రిప్ట్ ద మెసేజ్. అంతే కదా, యువర్ ఏ ఈస్ సెండింగ్ మెసేజ్ టు బి విత్ బీస్ పబ్లిక్ కీ, బికాస్ బీస్ పబ్లిక్ కీ is known to everyone, but private key is known to only B. కాబట్టి B can only decrypt. So the attacker target is, if I get B's private key, then I can easily decrypt and start communication, and he will be doing some attacks on B's digital system to get the B's private key. So instead of that, why can't we exchange another key with this private key and public? Instead of encrypting the message, why can't we create one key, another కీ, అంటే ప్రైవేట్ కీ కాదు, పబ్లిక్ కీ కాదు, ఇంకొక సీక్రెట్ కీ అనేది ఒకటి తయారు చేసి, విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ అండ్ పబ్లిక్ కీ మనం ఎక్స్చేంజ్ చేసుకొని, విత్ దట్ సీక్రెట్ కీ వీ విల్ ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ అండ్ డీక్రిప్ట్ ద మెసేజెస్. ప్రీవియస్లీ ఏం చేశారు, ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ మెసేజ్, యూ ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ విత్ పబ్లిక్ కీ, డీక్రిప్ట్ విత్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ. ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తున్నారు, ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ సెండింగ్ మెసేజ్, I will send a secret key by encrypting with public key, so that other person will decrypt with his private key. సో డీక్రిప్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత అక్కడ మెసేజ్ ఉంటుందా? ఉండదు. ఇంకొక కీ ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, ఈవెన్ దో ఇఫ్ ఎనీబడి డీక్రిప్ట్స్ ఆల్సో హీ విల్ నాట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ మెసేజ్ బికాస్ అది మెసేజా, కీయా, నెంబరా, బికాస్ ఎవ్రీ డేటా విల్ బీ ఇన్ వన్స్ అండ్ జీరోస్ ఓన్లీ. రిమెంబర్, maximum bulk data will be in ones and zeros only, which is non-readable format. So even if you decrypt it in, also it will be in the form of some ones and zeros. So what will happen? So you are increasing one level of security. For simple, ma idorik enti anante inti mundu taalam esam, you have locked your home. If you get that lock, you can take all the things from the home, you can rob it. Now what we are going to do is, you are locking your home, but if you open that lock, inside you are having another lock, so that little bit all the people think that only one lock is available, but if you open one lock, you will be having a second lock inside of that door. Here also we are doing the same. Everybody can see this outside lock only, because that is public key and private key. If you open this outside lock, public key and private key, you will be having a inside, you are maintaining inside another lock called as a secret key. So hope you understood. So what is happening is, if A wants to see at the points now, first A generates his own public key and private key using RSA algorithm or any algorithm. He will create his public key and private key, and he will transmit his identity and his public key to B. Okay, A యొక్క పబ్లిక్ కీని Bకి పంపిస్తాడు, ఎవరితోనైతే కమ్యూనికేషన్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాడు. సో వన్స్ he will send, what B does, B will generate one secret key which is not related to this public key or private key. దేనికి సంబంధం? It creates an entirely different secret key that is represented with K suffix S, secret key. So this secret key is transmitted to A using A's public key, because A అనేటోడు ఆల్రెడీ వాడు పబ్లిక్ కీ Bకి పంపించాడు కదా, కాబట్టి A యొక్క పబ్లిక్ కీతో ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేసి Bకి పంపిస్తుంది. Now what A does, he will decrypt that with his private key. కాబట్టి వాడికి సీక్రెట్ కీ ఏంటనేది తెలిసిపోయింది. Now what A will do, ఈ దీన్ని రికవర్ చేసుకొని, బికాజ్ ఓన్లీ ఏ కెన్ డీక్రిప్ట్ ద మెసేజ్ కదా, ఎనీబడి కెనాట్ డీక్రిప్ట్ కదా. నౌ ఏ విల్ డిస్కార్డ్ దిస్ పబ్లిక్ కీ అండ్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ, అండ్ బి విల్ డిస్కార్డ్ ఏస్ పబ్లిక్ కీ. సో ఇఫ్ ఎనీబడి నోస్ ద పబ్లిక్ కీ ఆఫ్ ఏ ఆర్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ ఆఫ్ ఏ ఆల్సో, దే కెనాట్ అండర్స్టాండ్, దే కెనాట్ ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ ఆర్ డీక్రిప్ట్, బికాస్ officially first purpose they have used public key and private key of A for exchanging the key from B to A, right? Now once the exchange of this secret key has been done, what they will do, e public key ning asalu vaadaru, public key and private key of A ni vaadaru. Is it clear? So everybody uses this, A and B uses another key, secret key, which is not known to anyone. Because what attacker thinks, his public key is available with the directory or whatever announcement or whatever it may be, he will try to do attacks using that public key and try to get that private key, but he will not get any information, because A and B both are not using any public key and private key, they are using another key called as a secret key. So this is one more advantage. This is how they use. Actually in the Diffie-Hellman exchange, this is the procedure, they will exchange the keys. A exchange keys to the B and B exchange keys to A. అంటే దీంట్లో కూడా మ్యాన్ ఇన్ ద మిడిల్ అటాక్ ఉన్నది, బట్ ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ టెల్లింగ్. సో దిస్ ఈస్ వన్ మెథడ్. Now secret key distribution with confidentiality and authentication. So authentication అంటే, so A has to verify B and B has to verify A. So confidentiality anante, it should not known to anyone this key is being transmitted. So మీరు ఈ representations బట్టి you have to understand what is this representation in terminology. గుర్తుంచుకోండి, E stands for encryption, D stands for decryption. గుర్తుంచుకోండి. Okay, so encryption, PUB means public key of B, means A is sending to B ఏమని, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎన్క్రిప్టింగ్ విత్ ఇట్స్ పబ్లిక్ కీ by sending its IDA, ante identity of A, it may be certificate or whatever it may be, that I am A, and he is sending one random number N1. This total data is encrypted with B's public key and it will be received to B. This can be decrypted only with B's private key. ఇక్కడ పబ్లిక్ కీతో ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేసాం కాబట్టి B can decrypt only with his private key, right? అంటే A is sending that I am A to B. Now what B should do? B should confirm that, okay, I have received a message and చెప్పేసి B should confirm. So what it is doing, B is encrypting with A's public key and it is sending N1, నువ్వు పంపించిన random number దానికి combined గా ఇంకొక random number create చేసి B is sending. Now A also will decrypt with its private key because it has been received from B's public A's public key. Right? Now, A key, B key identity, A identity, B has been verified. Okay? Because it has to communicate. Now, what it will do? It will do, and నువ్వు N1 పంపించినావు, N1 కి రిప్లై వచ్చింది, బట్ N2 కూడా పంపించినావు కాబట్టి N2 కి రిప్లై కావాలి కదా. సో A will send with B's public key N2 encrypted format. So it will decrypt. Okay, నేను పంపించిన N2 నాకు రిటర్న్ వచ్చింది కాబట్టి ఓకే ఫైన్, it is completed. Now next again A has to start communication kada. So A is sending secret key, that is KS, K suffix yes, KS అనేది secret key పంపిస్తుంది. దేని ద్వారా? A యొక్క ప్రైవేట్ కీ ద్వారా. సో ఏ యొక్క ప్రైవేట్ కీ ద్వారా పంపిస్తుంది. బట్ సార్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ ద్వారా పంపిస్తే పబ్లిక్ కీ ఇస్ నోన్ టు ఎవ్రీ వన్ కదా, మరి ఎవ్రీబడి కెన్ డీక్రిప్ట్ నా అని అనొచ్చు. బట్ బిఫోర్ దట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అగైన్ టోటల్ డేటా ఈస్ బీయింగ్ డీక్రిప్టెడ్ విత్ బీస్ పబ్లిక్ కీ. అగైన్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎన్క్రిప్టింగ్ విత్, సో రిమెంబర్ మై అగైన్ సీ హియర్, సీక్రెట్ కీ అలాంగ్ విత్ ఏస్ పబ్లిక్ కీతో ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేశాడు. ఏస్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ PRA ప్రైవేట్ కీతో ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేశాడు. సో వై ఈ హాజ్ ఎన్క్రిప్టెడ్ విత్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ? ఇట్ ఈస్ ఏ ప్రైవేట్ కీ ఎవరి దగ్గర ఉంటుంది? ఏ దగ్గర తప్ప ఎవరి దగ్గర ఉండదు. ఇట్ ఈస్ హిజ్ ఓన్, ఇట్ కెనాట్ బి షేర్డ్. సో ఇట్ గివ్స్ అథెంటికేషన్ దట్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ ఎన్క్రిప్ట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ పర్సన్ ఏనే ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేయగలడు, వేరే ఎవ్వరు ప్రైవేట్ కీ వాడలేరు. సో ఇట్ గివ్స్ అథెంటికేషన్ దట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ. అగైన్ దిస్ టోటల్ డేటా ఈస్ బీయింగ్ అగైన్ ఎన్క్రిప్టెడ్ విత్ బీస్ పబ్లిక్ కీ. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, బీస్ పబ్లిక్ కీతో ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేశారు. సో బీస్ పబ్లిక్ కీతో ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేశారు అని అంటే హూ కెన్ డీక్రిప్ట్? ఓన్లీ బీ కెన్ డీక్రిప్ట్. కాబట్టి నో బడీ కెన్ డీక్రిప్ట్. దట్స్ వై కాన్ఫిడెన్షియాలిటీ. సిన్స్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఎన్క్రిప్టెడ్ విత్ ఏస్ ప్రైవేట్ కీ, ఇట్ ఈస్ అథెంటికేషన్. సిన్స్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఎన్క్రిప్టెడ్ విత్ బీస్ పబ్లిక్ key, it is confidentiality. So here, if you send this total data, B has to perform two decryptions. One is using his private key and another one is using A's public key. Right? It has to do, because A's public key is known to all. So this is why you call it as a, what do you call ma? You are having confidentiality because only B can decrypt. You are having authentication because it was encrypted by A's private key. So two levels of encryption and two levels of decryption has to be done. So this is all the explanation here. So these are the different ways to perform, share your public keys or secret keys or whatever it may be. This is about key management. Hope you understood. Any doubts? You can ask me.
No, sir, no doubts.
Okay. So ఏ సెక్షన్ ఎవరున్నారు వాళ్ళ రూల్ నంబర్ చెప్పండి. ఇక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు మాత్రమే, కొత్త వాళ్ళు ఎవరు లాగిన్ కావడానికి